What I'm going to do today is slightly different. The tea bike's actually been on quite a lot of adventures this summer. It's travelled around Devon, it's been up to Bristol on the train, it's also cycled across London and Kent, so it's been to a lot of places and it's had tea with a lot of people. And yes, but it's come back to Dartington, which is where it was made and launched in June. I met a herbalist and she told me that when you meet a plant, you should give it a squeeze and a smell, and that's kind of a really good way of getting to know whether something is going to be good to eat, because a lot of it is about kind of using our senses, something that we don't do so much anymore, and often if something smells really disgusting, it probably isn't going to be that good to eat. Or it might be that it's got some really strong medicinal properties, but it's not something you want to have in large quantities. And the fennel, when you smell that, I find it's really sort of appetising scent. Mustard leaf.
Is it?
Yeah, I wouldn't use it for tea, I'd use it just for eating. Mustard leaf. Try it. Very mustardy. Definitely not for tea.
That'd be great in a salad.
And others, you need to dry them to actually make them into tea. So blackberry leaves and raspberry leaves. I tried to make them just fresh leaf tea and it just didn't really taste much, but if you dry them, then it's more of an intense flavour. This is, I'm sure you all know the bramble. Very prickly, but you can use the leaves to make a tea.
Yeah.
And,
really?
And like I said, they don't really taste as much when they're like this, but if you dry them first, take the spikes out, and then they make a nice tea. Part of the project, for all the journeys that I've made, I'm making an archive of tea bags, so each place I go gets a tea bag. And these are just a few. There's a sort of sample of some from Bristol and some from Devon, so you can have a look through them as well.
So how many different types of teas have you made? What do you think?
Don't know, because there's certain plants I find a lot of and I keep picking, and then there's some that I've just come across as more rarely. So I've probably tried about 20 different plants or 25 different plants, but then also different combinations of plants. And as I said, some of them are a lot nicer than others.
And what's your favourite?
I really like rose and passion flower.
Okay.
It's quite a delicious one. I also really love meadow sweets, which it grows a lot around here in Devon. Do you know what meadow sweet's like? It's like a white spray. It looks a little bit like an elderflower, but it grows kind of up. It's an umbellifera.
In the hedgerows?
Yeah, in the hedgerows. Yes. And you see it a lot around in the early summer around the river. I also love mint tea, and I've got a jar here of river dark mint, which is collected near Totnes.
So what have we got on the table?
Hundreds of teas.
Alright, so there's nettles, there's dandelions, there's rose and rose hips,
There's rosemary.
there's bay leaves, there's fennel, there's honeysuckle. Ooh, lavender. What are these ones again?
That's yarrow.
Yarrow. I think the rosemary and lavender would be great together.
Yes, they would be good to go. All the flowers.
Very good.
And I think blackberries and rose petals would be really yummy.
Yeah, I think that's the next one.
Sounds good. Let's try that.
Blackberries and rose
Yeah, I
petals.
tried making fresh berry tea before and it was pretty strange, but we put elderberries in.
But these elderberries are really strong,
aren't they?
And the rose as well. I think that's a great idea. We can have one straightforward fennel, so we've got such lovely, abundant fennel heads.
Do we put in a lot of rose
Just the
petals?
seeds.
I'd put in quite a lot because they don't have a very strong flavour. In fact, probably put all of them in.
If it needs some microphone.
You might start speaking.
It gets very hot, doesn't it?
Generally, you need to let them steep for a little while to get the flavour. I'm really impatient and I kind of always put it in and then want to drink it straight away. But it always tastes better, especially with something like rose petal, which doesn't come through that strongly. It's good to leave it for longer.
What's the first impressions?
Not bad at all.
Yeah?
Which one's this? Rosemary and what is it? Rose.
Can I try it?
Yeah, have it.
Oh no, it's alright.
You have your own.
I'll share yours. Kate.
Well, this is shortbread and lavender.
Is it nice?
Mm.
It's really good.
My friend who just got back from South America was telling me all about mate, because she'd been in Argentina, and the way they drink mate is like kind of really unique. Do you know about?
Well, I have an Argentinian friends in Montreal, and they're going over to, there's the whole kind of the way mate has come into North American society, and then my friends say no, it's really specific. You have to be in a group, and the one person pours it, and then it gets passed to somebody, and you drink it until a certain sound is made through the straw, and then you hand it back to the person. It gets refilled. They drink it, then they hand it to the next. It was very ritualistic.
That's definitely, and my friend was saying, and you can't really you have to do it that way, and you can't say no, and it kind of makes you get quite high, so you end up drinking loads of mate. So I'm interested, and I'd love to find out about in different places. I mean, it's what's fascinating is that here in England, it's become totally ubiquitous to have black tea, and I'm intrigued as to sort of when that transition took place, because people would have drunk a lot of medicinally people would have drunk a lot of plants that grow here. I guess instead of tea, I suppose it probably would have been like beer or something as a social ritual rather than herbal teas. But
I guess herbal tea hasn't got the caffeine kick, has it?
no, it was probably, but the plant knowledge would have been here, because people would have used them as a medicine. All the hedgerows would have been your pharmacy, and you would know that if you had a bellyache, you'd use this one, and if you had a headache, you'd use that one.
So what is it that's at the back of it? Why is it? What is it you're really doing it for?
What I'm really interested in is like humans' connections to plants, our relationship with plants, and our knowledge or lack of knowledge about them. And in cities, I think it's really fascinating because there's so much stuff all around us. And okay, some of it you wouldn't want to pick because it's probably covered in dog piss or right next to a busy road. But there's just a massive amount of abundance of stuff that you could use, and stuff that's good for your health, and stuff that tastes really good and has loads of nutrients in it. And people just completely don't see it. And I'm just learning, and I've really been amazed at the way it changes the way I look around me. Like when I'm on a journey now, I'm constantly hunting with my eyes for different shapes and colours and smells. And when you start to recognise things that you didn't know before, and know that they're, when I was cycling around Devon and was camping, it was like, really great to know that we didn't have to try and find a shop in the morning. We had something immediately around us we could use and have a hot drink. And I don't know, it's really, for me, it's about learning, and also about having conversations with people when you share tea. And then people even today, people have already told me loads of stories of their own experiences and knowledge about plants or things that might taste good. And so, I want to kind of keep doing it and compiling that. Another thing that I've been really kind of struck by through doing this is the way that it makes me slow down. So I've been really, really slowly cycling or just walking with my bike, because there's just so much to see all the time and to stop and pick, and you kind of, actually a bike isn't the best thing to go foraging with because you have your hands full, so you have to always lean it up. And then also just stopping to have tea with people, and it takes a long time to make tea with my kettle. You have to get the fire going, you have to make it and let it steep, and then you have to drink it, and the whole thing just takes a lot longer. But it's really satisfying because you know that everything is just literally from the environment around you. So I think the pace of it is something I'm really enjoying, and it's been a really nice way to kind of come to the end of a very busy chapter in my life by doing a project that's actually forced me to kind of take it more slowly.